the prison of grief. Sometimes we create our own prisons, and sometimes grief creates one for us. Very early on, that's the case. Our life locks down, it shuts down, we just feel trapped. Other times, we walk and we create our own various levels of prison by isolating ourselves. I mean, the grief process, there's enough isolation that's caused by people leaving our lives, or they don't know what to say, and so we feel all alone. Sometimes we go into very deep, dark places within our grief because we just feel like life isn't worth living anymore, or that there's no more purpose in life. And we create our own prisons that we stay in for some time until we decide to do otherwise. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. However, as we approach these places, we have to understand that we can come out of these prisons. As much as we create them, we can also create something different. We can create a life that helps us to move forward and to feel better. But yeah, it's work. Sometimes it's just easier to stay in the prison, to feel sorry for ourselves. I did that for years. In fact, I went to bed for 7 months after my son died because I didn't think life was worth living anymore. And I was so broken, I was in my own prison. And I created that a lot because of how I thought about myself and what I did, what I didn't do, and probably you find yourself thinking those things too. These prisons are very hurtful to us, and sometimes we think grief imposes, well, it does impose a lot of restriction on us, but it's also places where we can put ourselves for a period of time until we decide to come through that gate. And when we walk through that door, life might not look great to let ourselves out of that prison. But when we do let ourselves out of this prison, we can begin to feel that, the road might be long. The road might be very long, and we don't know what's on it. Or we stand at the road and we don't know which way to go. So what do? Start walking the road. And as we walk the road out of this prison, out of this container that holds all of our feelings, we can walk in grace and begin to understand that there are the small things of life that matter. The blue sky, the greenery, the singing birds. I know this all sounds ridiculous, but you know how fragile life can be, and you know what in life matters now. And if you begin to look at life a little differently, why walking this road won't be so painful. And as you walk the road, there'll be turns, there'll be crossroads, there will be things that you don't know how to navigate. Just keep stepping one step at a time. You think you're doing that now, maybe in your grief. Oh, one day at a time, that grief will heal it. Grief will not go away. Grief will wait for you to do your work. And if you sweep it under the rug, it will come back at some time that you don't want it to. It'll show itself. So I encourage you to consider taking a step out of your prison, whether that's finding support for yourself, whether that's engaging on some kind of new activity that brings you some sense of life, whether that's working with a counselor or going to some kind of a group. For some, it's just, sitting and thinking and being in that grief. But start going down the road and you'll see the scenery changing. And when you do, that's how your life is going to grow. So I hope you found this of value and that it's given you some things to think about, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and give me a like if you found value. In the meantime, this is Harold Polis, wishing you first survive, then to strive, and eventually maybe even thrive.